On March 1, 1932, Charles Augustus Lindbergh Jr., the 20-month-old son of aviators Charles and Anne Morrow Lindbergh, was kidnapped from his crib in the Lindberghs' home near Hopewell, New Jersey. The kidnapping and subsequent murder of the Lindbergh baby captivated the world, and the investigation was one of the largest and most expensive in history. The kidnapper left a ransom note demanding $50,000. The Lindberghs paid the ransom, but the baby was never returned. On May 12, 1932, the body of the Lindbergh baby was found partially buried in the woods near the Lindbergh home. In September 1934, a German immigrant carpenter named Bruno Richard Hauptmann was arrested for the kidnapping and murder of the Lindbergh baby. Hauptmann was convicted and sentenced to death. He was executed in the electric chair on April 3, 1936. Do you have any feedback on how I can improve my content? Thanks for watching.
In 1986, the Bowen family of Pepperell, M.A., began experiencing strange occurrences in their home. What they initially dismissed as mere imagination took a sinister turn on December 8, 1986, when a bizarre intruder with spiked hair, face paint, and weapons forced them into a bedroom. The family's eldest daughter managed to escape and call the police, but the intruder vanished before they arrived. 2 days later, a shocking discovery revealed the horrifying truth. The intruder, 16-year-old Daniel LaPlante, had secretly lived within the Bowens' home for days, tormenting them from hidden spaces. Arrested and sent to juvenile hall, he received a lenient sentence. Tragically, in 1987, LaPlante committed a triple murder. LaPlante murdered a woman named Priscilla Gustafson and her 2 young children in their home. He received 3 life sentences for his crimes.
On the evening of February 26, 2009, 6 men in masks burst into the home of Stephanie and Travers holding shotguns. They hit Stephanie over the head with a vase and then held her and her mother, Joan and Joan's grandson, overnight. They demanded Travers deliver €7 million to them the next morning. As dawn broke, the men took Smith, Joan and grandson into a van and drove away. Travers retrieved the money from the bank and put it in laundry bags. He drove to Ashbourne, where his family was released. The gang took the money and drove away. The day after the exchange, 7 people, 6 men, and 1 woman were arrested, and 4 million of the €7 million stolen were recovered. The suspects were found piled into a car, surrounded by huge stacks of money. A year after the arrest of the first 7 suspects, an 8th who worked with Travers was arrested. While €4 million were recovered, 3 million are still missing. Thanks for watching. In 1871, Thomas McGahan was on trial for the murder of Tom Myers, the result of a barroom brawl. McGahan's lawyer, Clement Vallandigham, set out to prove that his client was innocent because he believed the victim had shot himself after trying to draw his pistol from a kneeling position. In an attempt to prove his case, Vallandigham put what he thought was an unloaded gun in his pocket, kneeled down to recreate the scene, attempted to pull the pistol out of his pocket, and accidentally shot himself in the abdomen. He died a few days later, but his client, Thomas McGahan, was acquitted and released from custody. In the 1970s, California witnessed a reign of terror at the hands of Lawrence Bittaker and his accomplice, Roy Norris, infamously known as the Toolbox Killer. Aged from 13 to 17, the 5 victims were abducted, transported to remote locations, and subjected to relentless hours of torture before meeting their tragic end. Bittaker and Norris employed a chilling array of tools, including screwdrivers, pliers, and even a blowtorch, to inflict unspeakable pain upon their helpless victims. What set them apart was their toolkit, a literal box of horrors. To compound the horror, they meticulously recorded their heinous acts on audio tapes. Law enforcement closed in on the duo, ultimately leading to their capture. Bittaker passed away on December 13, 2019. In contrast, Norris, despite becoming eligible for parole in 2009, faced repeated denials. His life came to an end on February 24, 2020. Thanks for watching. Sylvia Likens and her younger sister Jenny were sent to live with Gertrude Banizewski and her family after their parents were unable to care for them. Gertrude Banizewski was a single mother with 7 children of her own. She was known for being a strict disciplinarian, but she had never been accused of child abuse before. Paula Banizewski was 16 years old at the time of the murder. She was a follower of her mother and participated in the abuse of Sylvia. Sylvia Likens was subjected to a variety of tortures, including being beaten with a paddle, burned with cigarettes, and forced to eat dog food. She was also tied up and hung from the ceiling. Sylvia Likens died on October 26, 1965, from a combination of injuries and starvation. Gertrude Banizewski and Paula Banizewski were both convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. In July 2019, authorities in Vatican City received a new tip in a 35-year-old cold case. In 1983, 15-year-old Emanuela Orlandi, the daughter of a Vatican employee, disappeared in Vatican City on her way home from a music lesson and was never seen again. The anonymous tip said to look where the statue of an angel was pointing, leading investigators to the tombs of two 19th-century German princesses in the Pontifical Teutonic College. Although Orlandi's remains were not found, two ossuaries containing thousands of bones were discovered. It was eventually determined that the bones were at least 100 years old and belonged to dozens of unknown individuals. Please share. Hopefully someone can confess what happened to Emanuela. Thanks for watching. Angelo Buono and Kenneth Bianchi were obsessed with young women and believed that no one would miss them if they disappeared. They would often pick up hitchhikers or women who were working alone. After killing the women, they would wash the bodies and dispose of them in various locations around Los Angeles. The murders stopped when Bianchi moved to Washington State. However, he was unable to control his murderous urges and killed two college students there. The similarities between the Bellingham, WA cases and those of the Hillside Strangler, coupled with witness statements connecting Bianchi to the two dead women, led to his arrest. Bianchi ultimately pleaded guilty to his crimes and revealed the name of his partner, Buono, in order to escape capital punishment. Both men were sentenced to life imprisonment for their crimes. Buono died of a heart attack in prison in 2002, while Bianchi continues to serve his sentence in Washington State. One monster, 13 murders, 50 rapes, and 120 burglaries. Who else but the Golden State Killer? Goleta, California. Detective Larry Poole was assigned to the case in 1977. He quickly realized that he was dealing with a cunning and ruthless adversary. The Golden State Killer was always one step ahead of the police, and he seemed to enjoy taunting them with cryptic messages and clues. Poole and his team worked tirelessly on the case for over 40 years. They eventually tracked down the killer's DNA, which was preserved on crime scene evidence. In 2018, they arrested Joseph James D'Angelo, a former police officer, using DNA evidence from a discarded Kleenex. D'Angelo was convicted of 13 counts of murder, 50 counts of kidnapping, 13 counts of rape, and 13 counts of burglary. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole in 2020. Thanks for watching. In the late 16th century, Elizabeth Bathory, a Hungarian noblewoman, married at the age of 14, became infamous for her dark deeds. Born in 1560, she inherited vast estates and wielded tremendous power. However, beneath her aristocratic facade lurked a sinister obsession. Elizabeth believed that bathing in the blood of virgins would grant her eternal youth. Between 1602 and 1610, she embarked on a horrifying spree, abducting and torturing young girls. Victims numbered anywhere from 36 to as many as 650 by some accounts. The shocking details of her cruelty included beatings, mutilations, and bloodletting. Bathory was arrested in 1610 and charged with witchcraft and murder. She was put on trial and convicted of her crimes. However, she was never executed because of her powerful family connections. She was imprisoned in her castle until her death in 1614. Thanks for watching.